Surprise, surprise, the cuddly, chewy, sniffy, creepy Joe Biden isn't exactly the same behind the scenes. In fact, apparently, he's a piece of work.
It's great that the mask is finally coming off. I mean, now that he's really being challenged and he can't just sit in the basement because of COVID, he's got to get out there more if he really wants to run for reelection. People are reminded of his character, his granddaughter that he won't acknowledge, who's very much alive and knows he's her grandpa and knows that he won't acknowledge her and has to listen over and over and over again to him saying, I have 6 grandkids, not 7, 6, not 7, telling all of his top aides, don't even mention her. Don't talk about 7. I have 6. Not to mention her loser father, who won't acknowledge her either. And she knows that these are her father and grandfather. Okay, they don't care. The way he treats his staff, the abusive language, calling them names, trying to berate them, trying to belittle them in front of others as some sort of initiation into his weird club. I'm sorry, Paul, but I have to mention it. The weird nibbling of the baby the other day. What's up with that? You're a parent. I'm a parent. There is not a normal parent who goes over to a stranger's child and like mocks, eats their upper shoulder to say hello or show affection. It's bizarre. And I realize as you get older, your behavior may change, but really what happens is you lose some inhibitions. You don't lose that many inhibitions. I've known a lot of elderly politicians. They don't behave like that. Must I point out in his daughter's diary, which we're not allowed to discuss, why again? She says that they took inappropriate showers together when she was a child, she and Joe Biden. We don't have to look very far to see his string of inappropriate behavior with women, adult women, not to mention somewhat younger ones with this hair smelling. It's just, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. And if I don't feel comfortable, there's probably something wrong. I want people to dig further. They won't. It's so good to be a Biden. The press runs cover for you no matter what it is, whether you're violating tax laws, gun laws, trading laws, or, fairness and ethical considerations in conduction of business, the FARA law, meaning foreign agent registration. I mean, we could go down the list. Even if you have cocaine in the White House, they will run cover for you. Starts with the Secret Service and goes all the way out to the media. It's absolutely outrageous. And for the Secret Service to have said 8 days, 9 days after finding coke in the White House, we didn't find the guy and we're closing the investigation, tells you everything you need to know, Paul. I mean, there was no rush. Why did they have to close it? What was the hurry in actually closing the book on this? They said, well, there could have been 500 people who went through. Okay, why don't you take 2 guys, have them sit down and start calling those 500 people and figuring it out. Let me tell you, if that coke had been anthrax instead of cocaine, that little white powder, which is what they thought at first, they would find the perpetrator. They just don't care. And why wouldn't they care? Somebody could be going into the Situation Room who's on serious drugs, advising the president of the United States on policy who's on serious drugs. Someone could be related to the president of the United States and be on serious drugs. Somebody could be the vice president, was found right near where they park her car and be on serious. We have no idea. They've left the stain lingering on all of these people because I believe someone's told the Secret Service, we don't want an answer. So it's very good to be a Biden, not so good to be a Trump. And it's indicative of how Democrats and Republicans are treated writ large in our country by the press and those in charge.
And the swimmer who's been beating lots of women is Lia Thomas, and Lia Thomas has now gone full Antifa.
He's posted a picture of himself with a message endorsing Antifa. And there is a movement underway. They call it Trans-Tifa. And these are trans people who are so radical and so violent in terms of their rhetoric or the way they approach life that they've sort of endorsed the Antifa mentality and approach to conflict. And Lia Thomas, Will Thomas is how Leah lived up until 2 years ago, made it to I think 19 as a man before declaring himself a woman, has joined the movement and is now posting weird social media bondage-esque photos of him with that message. It doesn't surprise me because, as I've told you before, the Daily Wire did a deep dive into Lia Thomas's social media, and it's dark and disturbing. And Lia Thomas is very clearly, according to these posts, into autogynephilia, gets off sexually undressing as a woman. The bondage, of course, playing right into type. And this is the person who is so indignant about not being allowed access to private women's spaces where women take off their clothes. Women had to change in bathrooms belonging to the staff. Women were shying away and they were shamed. But Lia Thomas remains a hero of the left and of people like Megan Rapinoe, who will never have to compete against men.